Welcome, this is Alex Forsyth. I'm going to give you a quick introduction into using Jamovi, which is free access software developed by the scientific community to encourage open access to everyone. And one of the advantages of using free software like this is that when you leave university, you'll be able to continue to do analysis without incurring especially high costs. So you can download and install Jamovi from its download feature. You can see you can download it in a number of different ways. And when you open the program, you should see something like this. So this is the Jamovi window. I'll just stretch it so you can see it better. And you can see what you've got is some big buttons here that help you decide which test you're going to use. And in the first instance, what we want to do is we want to open our data file. So we need to import some data. So we go for some open a file, and it's going to come up with some options for me. Often, because I've used it a few times, it'll give me some places that I've used before. So I'll be able to browse and look for different data sets that will assist me. So in this case, I'm looking for data that's held on my desktop. And in particular, I'm looking for this SD3 file, and I'm looking for the CSV datasets which Jamovi preferred to operate with. So if I click open, what we should find is that the dataset will become integrated into the Jamovi mainframe. So Jamovi will populate the data set to the left with all of the different variables, but the first thing you want to do is just make a check that actually Jamovi has correctly understood the kinds of data that you have. Now what you can see here are scores on this short dark triad inventory, which are on a Likert scale in nature. However, what's happened is Jamovi has made a mistake and it's interpreted it here as being in categories. So what we want to do is click on this little pie chart, and we can change our data set to continuous. When we're happy, we can click on that, and you can see it's changed it. Now there's quite a few of these that you need to go through and change. And you can see here how I'm doing that. We just need to work through the data set to make sure that all of the data has the correct identification, because if we don't do that, it will impact on the accuracy of our analyses. So you can see that I've now changed all of those variables to continuous data except for country and source. So country is where the data was collected from, and source was the method, whether it was a Google search, a website, etc., or from another resource. So what these individual questions are, they are actually test items on an individual test. And what we want to do is actually get an overall merged selection of data for these variables. So what we need to do is actually create a new variable. So we do this at the very end of the data set. When we click on here, it will ask us, do we want to compute a new variable? So when we say that we want to do this, it will give us different functions. Now what we want to do is we want to collect the average for a set of variables, and we know that there's 3 different measures on this. So we're going to start with P, which is psychoticism, and we want the mean. And then what we need to do is we need to input our variables. So to do that, we double click on the mean, and you'll see these little brackets open up. And then we start to populate the space between the brackets with the different variables of interest we want. Sorry, I'll just go back and fix that. So we double click on P1, and then put a comma in, and then P2, comma, P3, comma, P4. Whoops, I've lost my bracket. Just change that. Go back to where we were. P5, comma, P6, comma, P7, comma, P8, and P9. And what those all are the individual test items on this measure. And then we click